Hey guys, it's me, Lethal Brizzle Gaming here. Time for another E3 review. This time round we have the Sony or PlayStation conference, the one that I've been looking forward to discussing the most. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now Sony started off with a huge bang. I mean, there's rumours that The Last Guardian was coming back to this E3, being re-revealed. If you don't know the story behind The Last Guardian, it was revealed like what, 6 or 7 E3s ago. It's the spiritual successor to the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus games, and then it just sort of disappeared off the face of the earth. There was rumours that it was being cancelled, development wasn't continuing, but Sony always stuck by it that it's being, it's still being developed, it is still in the works. So I think a lot of the hype behind the game has come from the mystery surrounding the game, where it disappeared to, all the problems it ran into, what happened, why have we been waiting so long for this game. But for a final re-reveal at E3 was just incredible, and to start E3 off with such a bang as well. I mean, it's the sort of game that you'd usually end E3 on, not start it. So to come out of the gates with The Last Guardian immediately, possibly the biggest game of E3, and it just showed Sony's intentions straight off from there. I do think that they should have ended with it still, because leading with something like The Last Guardian means that the rest of your conference is only going to go downhill from there, even if it's still great. The trailer was cool. It's good to see that the game is still the game that we saw, 7 years ago. It hasn't changed much. It's the game that everybody's been waiting for. A lot of fear was around, how much have they changed the game? Is it the same game? Because then it's not the same game that we've all been waiting around to see. The trailer was cool, like I said. I really can't wait for this game. A lot of hype around it, and a final re-reveal. Now, I've given every game a score out of 10. These aren't necessarily how good I think the game's going to be or a review score. It is merely my personal excitement level and anticipation for the game. Now, The Last Guardian, I have to say, was my most anticipated game at the conference. I was absolutely buzzing when I saw it. I couldn't believe that I was finally seeing this game again. So I have gone and given it a perfect 10 out of 10, because I'm that excited. Then Sony surprised us all by showing a new IP from Guerrilla Games, which we all expected to be the Morpheus stuff that was in the rumor works, but it wasn't. Now, Guerrilla are known for their Killzone series, pretty samey games, and that. So to come out with something like Horizon Zero Dawn, which is this mix of like Indian tribalism and robot dinosaurs, it's a post-apocalyptic world of the apocalypse, if that makes sense. So we're starting to regain Earth back, starting kind of from our roots, starting fresh, like a full cycle. At first I thought it was just a CG trailer, and then the way the trailer just merged straight into the gameplay seamlessly was absolutely awesome. The gameplay looks incredible. It's won a lot of Game of the Show awards because a lot of people it caught a lot of people off guard. Like I said, it's a brand new IP, and I am buzzing for this game. It looks insane. If it wasn't for The Last Guardian, this game would have easily been my game of the show. And as you can guess, it got a high score, so I gave Horizon Zero Dawn a 9 out of 10. Then we saw a new Hitman game, although it's technically a reboot by the looks of it. I'm not a huge fan of the Hitman series anyway. Agent 47 just doesn't do it for me. That barcode on the back of his head just makes me think that he, had a freak accident working in Asda or Morrison's or something. Now, like I said, I don't really, not excited for Hitman. The game looks good. We saw more of it at the Square Enix conference, where I'll talk a little bit more detail about the game, because it was a more detailed showing of the game, whereas this at Sony's was merely a trailer. I still give it a 6 out of 10 because it has enough for me to be slightly interested, but I'm not like buzzing for it. Then we saw another PlayStation exclusive that originally wasn't. It used to be a cross-platform game, and that's Street Fighter V. Now, Street Fighter is obviously it's a huge franchise amongst the fighting game community. Everybody outside the gaming probably heard of Street Fighter anyway. Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are those two sort of games. I don't care for fighting games too much, especially Street Fighter. If I do play fighting games, they tend to be something more like Super Smash Bros. Or PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, which aren't really, proper fighting games. They're more like arcadey. If it's a fighting game, I will most likely play Mortal Kombat. So Street Fighter V only got a 3 out of 10 because it's just not my sort of game. Then we saw some more gameplay of the eagerly anticipated game No Man's Sky. This game looks so ambitious, it looks just incredible. And to be made by such a small studio in good old England, where I'm from, makes me so proud. It was very much the same, we saw, you go onto a planet, there's creatures there, you discover the creatures, you discover these things, you upload them to beacons, you can annoy the sentinels and they come after you, have like a wanted level. That's pretty cool. But what blew my mind was when in the demo they zoomed out and showed you that each little dot was a galaxy and a planet, and it just kept going and going and going and going, and it really gave you a sense of just how big this universe and this game is and how ambitious it is. I personally cannot wait for No Man's Sky. I know for a fact I'm going to sink hundreds and hundreds of hours trying to get to the center of the universe. So I gave No Man's Sky a 7 out of 10. Then we saw the new game that Media Molecule are working on, and that is called Dreams. In true Media Molecule fashion, it was weird. Nobody really understood what was going on, but it still captivated you and kept your interest. I like the look of it. I like Little Big Planet games. Media Molecule are one of those studios that aren't afraid to try new innovative things. Dreams is very hard to explain. You need to go and watch the trailer for it. I give it a 5 out of 10. Pretty average because I don't know enough about the game to get too excited, but at the same time the fact that Media Molecule are working on it, you just know it's going to be something different. Then keeping with the indie-ish scene, we went on to a game called Firewatch. Now this game looks really cool. It reminds me a lot of like, a teen survival horror movie sort of setting, although it's not quite. Again, it's one of those ones you need to go and watch the trailer. Firewatch definitely has my interest. I can't wait to see more about the game. And at the moment it's on a 6 out of 10 for me, which, like I said, it means I've got interest. Will I buy it on release? Maybe not, unless I can see more that will sway me towards that. Then we saw our second showing of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Now, I'm already excited for this game. I've already said in my Ubisoft review how I fell out of love with the Assassin's Creed series a while ago. I haven't yet finished Assassin's Creed 3. Or I haven't even started Assassin's Creed 3 even, sorry. I have platinumed all the other ones, bar Revelations. So I do love the series. It's just got very stale, very boring. Injecting the Victorian London style into it looks pretty cool. A couple of new changes. It certainly has my interest in the cut. If you want to see a bit more detail about what I think of this game, go and watch my Ubisoft review on my channel. But for now, this time around I gave it a 6 out of 10. Then we had World of Final Fantasy for PlayStation Vita, the only game, if I recall correctly, that was on PlayStation Vita, the only Vita showing at Sony's conference, which is very disappointing. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Final Fantasy, the later games anyway. I mean, this game looks okay. It's not something that I'd really be interested in. Another Vita game's cool. I'll probably get it if it ever comes to PlayStation Plus. I doubt I'm going to buy it. As a result, I only gave that game a 2 out of 10. Then we were hit with another complete curveball and a complete surprise, and that was the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, last year we were trolled massively by saying that they were re-releasing Final Fantasy VII, but it was just a PC port. The original game just ported over. This time we're getting a fully fledged remake. Now, we're probably not going to see this game for like 2 or 3 years, maybe even longer. I hope it doesn't do The Last Guardian and just disappear on us for like 5 years. Although I'm not a huge fan of Final Fantasy, I never got to play Final Fantasy VII, which a lot of people say is the best Final Fantasy game out there. I've seen stuff about it. It looks like my sort of game, so I don't know why I never played it before. Maybe I was just too young at that time. The remake, I don't know if I've been caught up in the hype train of everybody else, or I'm generally just interested in this game, but the remake really got my interest. The trailer was really cool. I personally am buzzing for this game, even though I've never played the original, and maybe that's why I'm looking forward to it so much, because it's my first taste of Final Fantasy VII. As a result, I've given this game a solid 8 out of 10. Then, as if it couldn't get any better, it was a Kickstarter. You know, I wasn't too happy about Sony promoting Kickstarter. You know, if they believe in this game, they should get fully behind it. But I can see their point. And this was Shenmue III. Now, again, I've never played the Shenmue series, but I've heard so much about them. I'm hyped for this game because of it. I've been caught up in that hype circle again, similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake. A lot of these older games, you know, you have to remember I'm only young myself, so a lot of these older games I never got a chance to play, such as Shenmue and Final Fantasy VII, so I cannot wait to play these games. As for the whole Kickstarter thing, I can understand why Sony did it. They wanted to put it out there, test the water, see how much interest there was, you know, rather than just taking a guess, taking a pot net, putting all their money behind it and then it sells poorly. Because it's one thing fans saying, oh yeah, we'd love to see Shenmue 3, we'd love a Padapon remake, we'd love Resistance 4, we'd love these games. But it's another thing actually proving it by, you know, putting down pre-orders or buying the game or funding a Kickstarter. And it's a good way to get fans to put their money where their mouth is and get a genuine insight of how much this game is wanted. Now, the fact that the Kickstarter website crashed as soon as they announced Shenmue 3 because it was just flooded so much, and that within 9 hours it reached its goal of 2 million. I think it was dollars. I'm not too sure if it's dollars or pounds. I'm almost sure it's dollars. $2 million within 9 hours. That just, you know, goes to show how much this game is truly wanted. A lot of people ridiculed Sony for the whole Kickstarter thing, but I can understand that side of things. Now, a lot of people are saying about, you know, the 2 million not being enough, so it's not going to be pure Kickstarter, and that's exactly it. Kickstarter was purely a way to test the waters, get an insight of how much this game is actually going to sell, and then Sony will fund the rest of the game and back the game fully. So I personally, like I said, I got caught up in the hype. I've given Shenmue 3 a 7 out of 10. Then we saw a little bit from Batman Arkham Knight, which by the time this video goes up is actually released. Most of you have probably completed it. I don't think I would have bought it at that point. In fact, no, I haven't bought it, sorry. The old Batman games, you know, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City and stuff, I still haven't got around to playing it. I started Arkham Asylum when it was free on PlayStation Plus, and then my ex-girlfriend started playing for me, so I lost where I was in the game. She kind of took over my game save, and I wasn't happy about that, so I need to restart the game. As a result, I tried to stay away from Arkham Knight because of spoilers, although Sony completely spoiled the ending of the previous game in the conference. I'm not too excited for this game. I'll probably pick it up when there's a price drop or I've caught up on the series, so as a result at the moment it's only got a 5 out of 10. Then there was a huge announcement, not for me because I'm not a Call of Duty fan, but I can see why it's a big thing for Sony, and that was that Call of Duty is now partnering with Sony, whereas it was with Microsoft in previous years. So, you know, PlayStation players will now get, you know, DLC maps early, all these, like, you know, few perks that Microsoft had all the time. And the deal starts with Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Now, like I said, I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan, so this doesn't appeal to me a lot, but it is a huge deal. It was a huge deal when Microsoft had the early maps. It's why most players play Call of Duty on Xbox rather than PlayStation. I can see why Activision have jumped ship, because, you know, PS4 is outselling Xbox so heavily right now, Xbox One so heavily, so it's got a bigger target market, a bigger audience to appeal to. Black Ops 3 looks cool. The last Call of Duty game I played, I believe, was actually Modern Warfare 3, my favourite being Call of Duty Black Ops. I'm one of the few people that does enjoy playing the campaign, no matter how short they are. I completed Black Ops in a single sitting, so, you know, I do enjoy the campaigns. I'm not a huge multiplayer guy. I enjoy the zombies and the survivals and stuff like that. I haven't played Black Ops 2, I haven't played Call of Duty in a number of years. Black Ops 3 doesn't really have, you know, much excitement level for me, so I've given it an average score of 5 out of 10. Then we have a Star Wars Disney Infinity pack coming out later, and that's, you know, with the whole Star Wars Battlefront game and everything, they needed something that would appeal to the wider audience of, you know, the younger kids and the families, and that's why they've added Disney Infinity. Now, PlayStation also has an exclusive deal with that, where PlayStation players are getting a special play set and things like this. I don't really know, because I don't care for Disney Infinity too much, or Star Wars, so as a result this only had a 2 out of 10. Then we had Star Wars Battlefront. Now, I have talked about Star Wars Battlefront in my EA conference, you know, a bit more detail, so if you want a more detailed overview, go and check that out. This game looks cool. It's Battlefield in a Star Wars setting. I don't care if it's a Star Wars setting, but I do like Battlefield, so it'd be a cool game to play. As a result, I've given this game a 6 out of 10. It's pretty average. It's got a bit of my interest. Will I buy it at release? No. Will I play it with my mates and maybe buy it after a price drop? Probably. And then Sony ended with a really funny but cool demo, and that was Uncharted 4. Now the thing with Uncharted 4 is, you know, it's very much, I've seen it, it's cool, I know I want this already. It's a similar thing to what I was saying about The Division in my Ubisoft conference review. The more I see it, the more I know I want this game. My excitement level can't really get any higher because I'm already so excited for this game. You can keep showing me stuff and it's just going to be like, cool, yeah, it's more Uncharted, I know exactly what I'm getting here. Now, here's the funny thing. I haven't actually played Uncharted 2, 3, or finished Uncharted 1. Uncharted 1 I started, and then I can't remember why I stopped playing it. I haven't played 2 or 3 yet. I have them all in my PS3. The reason I haven't played them yet is because I'm waiting for the Uncharted collection to drop on PS4 so I can play a better version of the games. So that's me sorted this fall for Uncharted. I'm going to blast through these games, get up to date on the series that everybody loves. I love Naughty Dog as developers. The Last of Us is probably my favourite game of all time. Everything they produce at the moment is just quality. They're probably the best developers in the world at the moment. So I know Uncharted 4 is going to be good. I want to catch up on this series before Uncharted 4 comes out, which will be early next year, so I've got plenty of time. The demo was really cool. The demo started off poorly with the controller freezing, so Nathan Drake couldn't move. But I like that. See, a lot of people criticise PlayStation and Naughty Dog for that. I like that because it shows that it's, you know, they haven't pre-rendered a build of the game, or they haven't, like, you know, it's not all CGI or pre-played. It shows it's a live demo and the game is still in the works, and that's what I love about it. It has an air of authenticity about it that, you know, other games may not have. The demo was cool, like I said. The driving sequence, when I found out that that wasn't on rails, and in fact that you're the one driving this time, I was super excited about that because I've heard a lot in the previous Uncharted games. Obviously I haven't played them, but I've heard that a lot of those sort of sequences, driving and stuff, are always on rails and you're just shooting rather than actually driving, so that's really cool. I heard, you know, after the conference and stuff from like, you know, people like Kinda Funny and IGN, that there was a behind closed doors demo that was way better than the demo they actually ended on the PlayStation conference. So they should have showed that, because the demo was cool that they ended with. You know, it was more Uncharted, like I said, but it didn't quite have that like special moment or that, you know, that cliffhanger to end on or anything like that. And I think that was missing, and it wasn't quite a big bang to end the conference after Sony started so well with The Last Guardian and then a new IP in Horizon. It ended with Uncharted, which is cool, like, but Uncharted should have been more in the middle or maybe even at the start of the conference, and then end with a bang like The Last Guardian or Horizon. You just end on one of those things. But nonetheless, Uncharted 4 is one of my eagerly anticipated games. I give it a solid 8 out of 10 because I am buzzing for this game. I can't wait to play the collection, catch up on the series, get invested in that world, and then play Uncharted 4. So that brings me to the end of the games at Sony's conference. I'm a little bit disappointed with the conference in regards of Vita not getting much of a showing, because I love my PlayStation Vita, and it is like Sony have given up on that now, and you know, they're just going to let the handheld die, which is a shame because it's such a great piece of kit. It's got some absolutely brilliant games on there that you would not find anywhere else. Vita owners love their Vita, it's just they're not selling very well in the first place. Project Morpheus only got like 2.5 minutes of showing, which was quite disappointing because Sony is supposed to be, obviously I don't want them to spend 20 minutes on Project Morpheus, but a good 10 minutes or so would have been good. They need to push it a bit more. It's almost as if they've given up on it before it's even started. I don't want it to just become like a gimmicky add-on, you know, a peripheral. It needs to be something that they can really get behind because it's such cool technology. If the games are made right for it, then it could really be something special. But overall, I thought Sony's conference was absolutely fantastic. The best way I've seen it described by many people is that Sony's conference was fan fiction, which is true because when you look at The Last Guardian, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue III, it's like the past 2 or 3 years, everything that everybody has been wanting from Sony, like predicting every E3, oh yeah, this E3 we're going to see The Last Guardian, this E3 we're going to see Final Fantasy VII Remake. All these things, Sony had taken notice and just chucked them all together this year. All three of these, you know, all these big things that everybody wants to see. Put them all together into one E3. And like I said, it's very much fan fiction. It's pleased so many people out there. The only downside, like I said, apart from the Vita and the Morpheus, I believe is the fact that a lot of these games are 2016 games or distant future. There's not a lot of first party exclusives that are coming very soon. This fall, Sony's first party lineup looks very weak. I know it's compensated by third parties in, you know, your Star Wars Battlefronts, your Call of Duty, your Fallouts, your FIFAs, all these big games, the Assassin's Creed. But at the same time, you know, Sony do need to get that first party game. I mean, the PS4 has been out 2 years now. This is going to be its third Christmas this year, and it's still not quite got that stellar first party exclusive. There's some good ones. The Order, I love. Infamous, as you can see, I'm playing First Light in this video. I love. Killzone's good, but they don't. That stellar system seller game. I know Uncharted 4 is going to be that. It's a shame it got delayed because this would have been that game this fall, but it got pushed back to next year, unfortunately. The collection isn't quite the same. I mean, it's, you know, games are already out, but nonetheless, I think it's okay because of the third parties. But you know, so when you look at Microsoft's fall lineup and then you compare it to Sony's, it's a little bit disappointing. But the conference itself was absolutely fantastic. So many good games. I mean, there's so much above 7 ratings for me. There's a lot of really high rated games. It's got a lot of 8s, a lot of 9s, a lot of 10s. 110 in The Last Guardian. The Last Guardian alone is enough for me to love Sony's conference. So adding all these other great things into it just made it a really good conference. It was well paced. Apart from, you know, I think maybe we could have swapped the end and the beginning around. They started off with a bang though. It's not a bad thing they started off with a bang, they just didn't have that bang to end the conference with because of it. So I think Sony's showing was very, very, very strong. I know it can sound a little bit biased because, you know, I prefer PlayStation out of all my consoles. Out of all the consoles, sorry. But I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. Sony's was just really good. If you look, most online places like IGN, Kind of Funny, all these different game sites, most are saying Sony won anyway, so it's not necessarily just me that thinks Sony had a brilliant conference, or the best conference, should I say. Although the whole Sony won E3 thing, I don't agree with. I mean, at the end of the day, gamers win E3. We're the ones that, again, all these cool things from all these, you know, from Xbox, from Nintendo, from Sony, from Ubisoft, from EA, from all over the place. We're the ones that win at the end of the day. But I do think Sony had the joint best conference with Ubisoft. So I give Sony a 9 out of 10 on their conference. The conference score is a review score, not an excitement score. Like I said, I think Sony's conference was strong, and so a good solid 9 out of 10. Joint top with Ubisoft at the moment. For context, I give Microsoft 8.5 out of 10. So, you know, it's not like I've put Sony miles ahead. I just think their conference was slightly stronger. They had more games that appealed to me. You'll have to wait and see if Nintendo or Square Enix can knock them off of their perch at the top with Ubisoft. Those videos are sure to come very soon. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, rating, share if you want to, subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. You know, tell me what your thoughts on Sony's conferences were. Check out the rest of my channel. Check out my other E3 review videos. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.